At the moment, there are quite a lot of good midfielders out there in the world of football. Some of them are old, some of them are still very young, some of them are more attacking, and some of them are rather defensive. And Barcelona might have several candidates in their hands for the title of best midfielder in the world. While a lot of people would maybe start to think about Pedri, I think that it is actually quite valid to consider Frenkie De Jong as the best midfielder in the world. Why? Well, in this video you'll hear it, so make sure to stay tuned. So, what exactly makes Frenkie De Jong so good that there might be no one out there better than him? First of all, and most of all, he's extremely versatile. Xavi can play him in an attacking midfield role if he wants, and he would probably thrive there as a type of midfielder who puts high pressure and goes into the box to finish any crosses. We've also seen him do that already under Ronald Koeman about 2 years ago now. Back then, in the midfield three of Busquets, Pedri and De Jong, Busquets was the defensive midfielder, Pedri controlled everything, and De Jong was the energetic midfielder who made runs forwards. That season, 2020-2021, was also the one where he scored the most goals out of any of the seasons at Barcelona thus far. So, as the more offensive midfielder, he can definitely contribute a lot to a team. As a normal, controlling Xavi-like midfielder, he's got everything that you would like to have a controlling midfielder to have too. Those qualities that you'd need to have are outstanding passing, incredible press resistance, phenomenal vision, great positioning, good shooting, and creativity. Frenkie De Jong basically ticks all of the boxes there, apart from shooting maybe. But Xavi could easily use him as a controlling midfielder in his team, the metronome you could say. In Barcelona's current team, Pedri is the one who actually has that role, because, I mean, he ticks all of these boxes too. And he might even be superior to De Jong when it comes to vision, passing and positioning. But that's not too big of an issue for Frenkie De Jong since he can play at any position in midfield anyway, also as the defensive midfielder. What a defensive midfielder needs to have that a normal central midfielder doesn't is defensive awareness, great tackling and the ability to intercept the ball. Apart from that, what you're looking for in a defensive midfielder are basically all the things that a great central midfielder has. And surprise surprise, Frenkie De Jong has got all of the qualities of a great central midfielder, combined with his ability to anticipate and intercept opposition passes and recover possession quickly. His defensive awareness hasn't always been great, but this season he showed multiple times that he knows where he has to be in what moments in defensive situations, so it seems he has improved on that. When he plays in the defensive midfield role, he can just run the game on his own, both in defensive and offensive situations. This is probably his best position out of the basic 3-2, and in the future I think he could be the successor of Busquets in that role. So, Frenkie De Jong is basically a cheat code if you consider that he has the ability to be world class in any position you put him in midfields. There might even be midfielders who are better than him or who've got more of the ability to decide a game in one moment with individual brilliance, but no one is as versatile as him. Let's compare him to some other world-class midfielders to highlight what makes De Jong so special. Kevin De Bruyne, for example. I think that when it comes to shooting, he's a couple of levels above De Jong. When it comes to passing, he's probably slightly better, but when it comes to dribbling and press resistance, Frenkie De Jong gets the edge. And in any defensive ability, Frenkie De Jong is clear over De Bruyne too. So while De Bruyne is probably more likely to decide a game with one flash of individual brilliance, De Jong has got the ability to dictate the game in both offensive and defensive situations, and make sure his team dominates the game overall. It's not easy to flat out pick one of these two players here, since they usually don't have the same roles. If you would put De Jong in more of an attacking position like how De Bruyne plays, then he would be able to execute his role too, but he won't be able to make the difference as much as De Bruyne. Then again, the opposite's not really true. Nobody would ever expect De Bruyne to be able to dictate the game from a defensive midfield position. So while I understand why people would pick De Bruyne over any other midfielder, you see why it's more than considerable to pick Frenkie De Jong over him. What about Luka Modric then? Well, when it comes to shooting, he's superior to De Jong. When it comes to passing, they're probably an even match, but if I had to pick one of the two, then I would pick Modric. When it comes to press resistance, they're probably an even match too. Here it's really difficult to pick either one of the two. And when it comes to defensive abilities, then De Jong is superior to him. So it seems like Modric is the better player, isn't it? Well, 2 years ago he maybe would have been. And while it's indeed incredible that he's still done the things that he's done at 37 years of age now, he's starting to slowly physically decline. You can't tell me otherwise if you know that he's barely played any full game this season. So while he might still be world class when it comes to pure quality, he's not as energetic anymore as someone like Frenkie De Jong who embodies energy and vitality. So based on that, I would pick Frenkie De Jong out of the two right now. But is Frenkie De Jong even the best midfielder at Barcelona? Well, maybe not, but there are definitely things that would make you want to pick him above Pedri or Gavi. Pedri is probably superior to him when it comes to passing, positioning and vision. When it comes to press resistance, it's difficult to say, but Pedri might get the edge there too. And then again, De Jong is superior to him in any defensive abilities. So while Pedri might be even more of a wizard who can do things that you wouldn't see any other player in today's football world do, Frenkie De Jong is more versatile than him. Which would be the reason for me to pick De Jong above Pedri if I had to pick either one of the two. But that's really a difficult decision. And if I was Laporta and had to sell one of the two, then I would probably sell De Jong. But that's just because of the fact that he's about 5 years older than Pedri. There are still other midfielders like Gavi, Bellingham, Verratti or Fede Valverde that we could compare Frenkie De Jong to, but I think that would just be a waste of time since by now you already get the points. Frenkie De Jong is prolific in all of the qualities that you'd want the perfect midfielder to have. Apart from shooting maybe. And you can play him in any midfield position you want. While there might be midfielders who are better than him at each one of his qualities, there's just no one out there as versatile as him. And that's what makes him stand out. And for me, basically, the best midfielder in the world. That was it for today's video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and feel free to share your own opinion on who you think the best midfielder in the world is in the comments down below. Força Barça, and have a good day.